if your body doesn't have enough muscle to function, you can't move, right? How many people do you know in their 20s and 30s now who have arthritis? So the muscle isn't there to produce the force, to produce movement. So everything is done through the joints. I live my life every day in pain, and I don't want other people to make that same mistake. I'm going to get straight to the point, and I'm going to tell you, if you're making a mistake, you're going down the wrong route, right? I'm not going to be nice to you and give you compliments for nothing.
I kind of had a misconception that CrossFit makes girls bulky. Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of Setting the Pace. So today is what I think is going to be a really interesting conversation. So when I'm looking for guests, I ask around my friends, my family, people I meet, is there anyone that you think would be good to interview? And one name kept coming up. And to be honest, I was resisting, well, not the person, but the sport or the kind of sport that they're doing, because it literally has taken over Malta. And to a point where if someone would tell me that they do the sport, I don't know why, I would just roll my eyes. Not that I had anything against it, but because I'm pretty much the type of person to go against a trend. Well, maybe not with starting a podcast, so that's quite on trend. But, and then eventually I was just like, listen, okay, this is coming up more than 3-4 times. I've got to surrender to it. And the sport is CrossFit. And the person that I am going to interview today is Micallef. So you may or may not know Kyle. Kyle is the founder and head coach of CrossFit 356. He's also an Olympian. He's represented Malta countless of times abroad. And it's really interesting because Kyle has over 250 CrossFit enthusiasts that have created this community full of energy and love for working out and treating their bodies and mind with the utmost respect. And in less than 10 years, he's pretty much changed the game for CrossFit in Malta. So Malta is this tiny little island, and CrossFit is all over the place. And I think he's probably one of the people that we have to thank for that, or not if you were off trend like me. So I'm really excited for this conversation as we dive into what it takes to run a business, how to turn a passion into your full-time job, how you can grow a community as an introvert, because I would say that Kyle is quite an introvert, and the power of choosing the right people to surround you. So let's dive into it. I'm really excited, and I hope you are too. And if you've got 10 seconds, could you please just like and follow Setting the Pace wherever you listen to your podcast? This really helps with engagement and helps so that I can continue to get really cool people to speak to. Hi, I'm Maria, and welcome to Setting the Pace. This podcast was born out of the curiosity to understand the mindset behind the outcomes we spend years chasing, be it in sports, business, relationships, and everything in between. I want to learn more about the person you become and achieving anything that's worth your time, and how you can set the pace to get exactly there. Hey Kyle, what's up? Welcome to Setting the Pace.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you feeling about being on a podcast?
My first one, so you stole my virginity.
Yay! Okay, so like I said in the intro, you've got over 250 people that have signed up to CrossFit every single month. However, you still wake up sometimes and think that no one is going to walk into the gym. Where does that thought even come from when you've got the numbers that say otherwise?
I mean, it started with 3 members, right?
Okay.
So the first month that I started charging memberships, all I got was 3 members, and that left a mark in my head, sort of like, is this the right decision? Is this the right road to go down? And so now, 10 plus years on, 13 years, there's still that thought of, am I doing the right thing that people will want to come to the gym every day? And so far, it's been okay. I'm not going to complain that people walk in and 6 a.m. is actually the busiest time we have in the gym, which is, a really good thing to see. But there's always that self-doubt, that am I doing the right thing? Am I going down the right road?
Even after all these years.
Is this what people want? When will the CrossFit trend die? But, so far I think we've stayed ahead of the game, and, we keep developing and not changing things, but moving down, I would say, a better road that CrossFit is meant to be done, or how CrossFit is meant to be done, at least in my view.
Okay. And so it's safe to say that sports in general, but also CrossFit, is something that you really love. Like, it's a massive, probably one of the biggest passions in your life, or one of the biggest chapters in your life.
So I started CrossFit in 2011, right, beginning 2011. I opened the gym in 2012, basically, and it's been growing ever since. But before CrossFit, I was involved in all sorts of sports. From when I was young, I did swimming, I did tennis, I did basketball. Being at Marsa Sports Club, they have a whole bunch of sports available. I did cricket, for a bit, but, I tried it. What else? Oh, man, BMX at the BMX track, a bit of skateboarding.
Just always movement.
Always. There was always something that kept me active, you know? And as I moved, or as I went to university in the UK, I was working in a gym, and a guy told me to try a workout, and
happened to be
here
CrossFit.
we are, 2024.
Okay, and in one line or less, what is CrossFit?
So, the actual definition...
He doesn't know, guys.
I'm going to try to find the right way to word it, because sort of what CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity, right? The definition CrossFit gave itself. But what CrossFit is, like in a one-liner, is you're taking a bunch of sports and turning it into a fitness program, right?
So it's a sport.
Personally, I don't consider it a sport, right? It is a fitness program with a competitive element to it. But as such, I don't consider it a sport.
Okay. I feel like we're going to get some backlash on that.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Because people think CrossFit is a sport. It's all about time. It's all about this. It's all about that. When in reality, if you took 100 people, 99 people in the gym are there just to be healthy, right? You wouldn't take someone who is 25 years old, just got into a pool, and then 2 weeks later, they're competing. It doesn't quite fit in terms of what sports is. But if you are going to look at it as a sport, then you have to look at it as, how can I get the most out of this training program for my sport? And it's definitely not going 100% every day, which is what people think CrossFit is. And it's not. It's far, far from it.
I did have that impression of it. And I think that's why I was so, I don't want to say against it, because I'm not really against much, but because kind of online and people I speak to, they were so like almost like a cult. I was like, it's way too much. But I kind of had to eat my words, because you invited me to a class and I came and I loved it, and I signed up straight away, and I've been going almost every day last week. I've got everywhere sore, and I feel like a kid again in a gym.
So now you're part of the cult.
Now I'm
right?
part
The cult
of it.
isn't necessarily a bad thing.
The tattoo was a bit extra, but but no, it's been really fun, and maybe it's better that I went into it resisting it, because now I've been pleasantly surprised. But so coming back to what is CrossFit, so you've got the gymnastics element. Right,
so you have the gymnastics element, the weightlifting element, the cardiovascular element, which is your running, your rowing, your biking. You have your plyometrics involved, so you're jumping. Any sort of element of sport you can think of can be somehow fit into a workout, right? It just has to be structured in the right way, right? You can have swimming, you can have swimming and weightlifting in one workout, know? You just have to obviously understand that there's an element of safety, because one, you're under fatigue in water. So the element of drowning is very, very real. Secondly, you're wet and you might have an object, a dumbbell, a barbell, a kettlebell. So there's the potential safety of, these weights slipping. But it's not to say it can't be done safely.
Okay. So I guess that's why probably people are so attracted to it, because it's so dynamic. Like every day is different.
Yeah, 100%. Every day is different, but the purpose, at least for me, is always the same. Every day we're there to develop movement.
Okay.
Rather than, this is your workout, go as fast as you can. All right? I'm not concerned about how fast you can go. I'm concerned about how fast you can go moving very well.
Okay.
Which are two completely different things.
And is that like based off your experience from when you were, obviously it's come with your training as you became a coach and all this stuff, but you were also an Olympian. And so is that something you learned kind of the hard way, like maybe going too fast too soon?
Yeah. I mean, CrossFit is still a relatively new training method, sport, however you want to word it, right? So with something so new, mistakes are going to be made, right? Back in the day, 10 years ago, it was all about moving something heavier, longer, faster, and a lot of people from 10 years ago are broken because of that specific reason. Like a lot of the old sort of CrossFit athletes, coaches, people involved in CrossFit actually stopped because
I see.
mentally, physically, it was just too much, right? It was this, CrossFit wanted to put on this display that this is the best program, these are the fittest athletes, which I would agree 100% that the top CrossFit athletes are the fittest athletes in the world, all around.
Okay.
Right, so if you look at fitness as a
'Cause it's
big,
so
big pie, because there's so
multidisciplinary.
many disciplines to do, right? Where were we? Forgot.
So we're talking about going too fast.
Going too fast.
Lifting too much.
Lifting too much. So now I took like a few years ago, I took this step backwards, and I'm going to challenge people based on the movement difficulty, right? So if gymnastics asks for this quality of movement, this is what we're going to practice. I know it's harder. I know you're going to take longer to get to this point, but I know that from this point, you're going to last a lot longer, right? You have a much better foundation, a much better building block, rather than sort of like an upside-down pyramid,
Okay.
right? Where you have a weak foundation, but then you have this big, heavy top, right?
So you learn that from other people's mistakes?
From my mistakes.
From your mistakes?
No, from my mistakes. I mean, I live my life every day in pain.
Okay.
Right? So my back, my hip, just because it was too much too soon.
I see.
Right? And I don't want other people to make that same mistake where they stop enjoying training and fitness because it's too hard and their bodies are broken. Right? I don't want to let people do that.
Okay.
Right? And I know people think I'm this big, mean guy, but I'm going to tell you how it is. I'm going to get straight to the point, and I'm going to tell you, if you're making a mistake, you're going down the wrong route.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to be nice to you and give you compliments for nothing. You know, I'm going to tell you this is wrong. Right? There's a better way to do it. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you only get one body, so I guess I would rather
That's it.
somebody piss me off and tell me the truth
That's
than... But, okay, so then how do you... So if you have someone in the gym and maybe they're really genetically gifted, like I think you were, because you did like 500 sports, and they are able, like they've been doing sports a long time, they've got all the right technique, and they just have a lot of the boxes ticked. But they're, maybe you're seeing from your experience, that, like you're saying, you learned the hard way, lifting really heavy or doing something at a rate that you know it's not sustainable. Like, how do you tackle that? Because obviously they're still clients, but maybe it's someone you care for or care about their well-being in general. How do you manage a situation like that?
It's a really difficult situation because I know from myself, I always wanted to do more, to do more, to do more.
And you don't want someone kind of dampening that
and
energy.
you don't want to be told no, you know, but in hindsight, I wish I had someone hold me back.
Yes.
Because potentially my body would feel a lot better than what it does now, you know? And I do have a couple of clients, or I say clients, members and friends, because I mean, you saw it now, how sort of close everyone becomes, right?
I'm still on the outside, but
You're
eventually.
still on, but you'll get into the bubble, don't you worry. But it's very difficult because especially with sort of like athletically gifted people, they pick up like this. I was one of those people. I can watch something and do it. I can hear something and I'll do it.
I was never like that.
Right? You explain something and my head is already figuring it out.
Okay.
And I'll do it, right? Very, very easy for me to pick up on stuff. And with those people, you almost have to hold them back a bit, right? To stop them from hurting themselves.
Okay, so you have to rein it in, but how do you do that? Obviously telling them, explaining.
It depends on the person,
Okay.
right? It depends how delicate this person is,
Okay.
or what a delicate soul they are, you know?
Okay.
If it's someone who can take a bit more, you can be a bit more real with them, so to say. But if it's someone who's a bit delicate, you have to be a bit careful how real you get with them.
Okay.
And it's something I struggle with because I'm just blunt, straight to the point with these people. But I'm starting to learn how to be a bit more diplomatic, so to say, right? Just put it in a different way.
Okay.
Try to get them think in a different way.
Yeah. And coming back to obviously CrossFit as a sport, but also CrossFit in general. So one of the reasons why I kind of had a misconception about CrossFit is that there's like this sentence that would always like ring in my head that CrossFit makes girls bulky. But I'm sure like you've heard it and people have told you, like I'm not the first person, right, to tell you this or hear about it.
No. Far from it.
Okay, so your reaction is an obvious one, but why would people think that, and is there an ounce of truth to it?
No.
Nothing
It's incredibly difficult, first of all, for a man to get big. Like the amount of time you need to invest in the gym to actually put on muscle is incredibly, just from your genetics, it's incredibly difficult for the majority of people. Again, we're going to exclude the outliers. Okay. Just for a man, it's incredibly difficult to put on size and muscle, actual muscle. So for a woman whose testosterone levels are significantly lower than a man's, it's even harder, right? The reason why people see CrossFit athletes as big and bulky is because they're lean.
So then they put on muscle and that makes
So
sense.
it gives you that visual
Okay.
that this person is really big, when in actual fact, they're not overly massive, all right? Again, I'm excluding the outliers. I'm excluding the top athletes in CrossFit, just the everyday person, right? Which is what CrossFit is for, which is what I believe in, right? The 99% of people. You're not going to get big unless you're taking certain chemicals and supplements, right? Which give you an edge.
Okay.
And then sky's the limit, you know what I mean? But naturally.
It's really hard. Okay, so
I've been doing
I'll continue
CrossFit.
coming then.
I've been doing CrossFit pretty much every day for 13 years.
Okay.
Right? And, I'm not excessively big.
Exactly. Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. Coming back to the 99% that you mentioned. So when we had met before this podcast, you said that you have a mission. Can you tell me what this mission is?
My mission. So really, it's just for people to realize that CrossFit is for everyone, right? You are capable of doing it. And sort of my mission is to expose CrossFit to Malta even more, bring it out there even more. And I think over the past 2 years, we've done a pretty good job with exposing Malta to more of CrossFit, to pulling or to getting CrossFit certifications over to Malta. So from the past 2 years, we've held CrossFit certifications which allow people to do their CrossFit Level 1, CrossFit Level 2, which is trainer course,
I see.
to go on to help coach people, right? We've started with gymnastics courses. We have a powerlifting seminar coming up. But I want people to understand that CrossFit is for everyone, right? You just have to understand that you need to do it at your pace.
So like my mom could join tomorrow.
100%. Right? Before coming here, I had a session with my dad, and a 77-year-old client. We all train together. My dad's 72.
Okay, my dad's coming to the next session, and my
17.
mom. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Hey, if they want to join, more than welcome. So don't be shy. We'll make life easy, and then we'll build it, right? But you need to come in with that open mind of, I'm going to try. If I can't do it, we'll adjust it,
Okay.
right? And then we'll build from there.
Okay.
But to find the baseline when you're new is a bit tricky because, you know, you think back to when you were young, what you could do when you were young, and then it's like, oh, when I was young, I could do this. Don't compare yourself to when you were young. It's different. Don't compare
You're in the now.
yourself to someone who's been in the gym for 5 years because they have 5 years built up under them. You know, look at yourself today, look at yourself tomorrow, look at where you want to be in a year,
Okay.
right? And see how you're going to build from there. But the most important thing is that whoever or wherever, whichever gym you go to, whoever the trainer is, they need to understand that basics are basics, right? You need to have a solid foundation of basics, right? People, especially in CrossFit, want to do too much too soon. And that's where the injuries come from. That's where all of these people are hurt. You know, that's how I got hurt. Too much too soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And so coming back to the mission. So your mission is CrossFit to, first of all, CrossFit to kind of live beyond you. And that's why you're getting everyone certified and you're, you know, you're really great coaches. Like I've experienced them firsthand. But it's also kind of Malta, because that's where we live and this is where the podcast is being filmed. But how do you even start something like that? Like, I mean, there are 600,000 people on this island, if not more. So how does that mission even begin where you basically would love to wake up tomorrow and everybody's moving, but that's not the case? So how do you even like kind of make that a goal that you can grab and, you know?
I mean, I just go in day after day, right? I enjoy what I do. My hobby puts food on my table, so to me, I don't see it as work. But it's just going in every day and trying to do a better job than the day before, right? Trying to be a better coach than the day before. You know, trying to get this word out that, hey, it's okay to go a bit slow, but you can do it properly.
So you're thinking about these things every morning?
Every day.
So like this morning when I saw you at 6 a.m. opening the gym door, you were thinking, I need to be better this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Consciously.
Consciously.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So the session I gave at 6 a.m. was different to 7:15. The
Okay.
7:15 was better. The session I gave at 10 was better than the both of them. Because I had a chance to think about what I did the session before.
Okay.
Like within...
I wouldn't think you were that switched on, I'll be honest.
Oh, yeah. So from 6 to 7, that's usually my worst one. Because it's 6 a.m.
I go at 6 a.m.
Right? It's not a bad session, okay? But it's usually my worst session because I'm still a bit asleep until about 5:30. You know, I'm still trying to sort of like figure out the session, not the ins and outs, but the logistics of the session, right? But every time I give a technique piece, right? So this morning you came in and we had a toaster bar technique piece, right? The way I structured it for 7:15 was a bit better.
I see.
The way I structured it for 10 a.m. was a bit better because I added bits and pieces which sort of helped people understand this concept of that tight kip swing we did in the beginning, if you remember. That concept of using tension and the muscle to guide the movement rather than using big excessive movement which eats into the joints, right? You're just using elastic tension of the muscle to work one way, build up tension that allows you to snap back the other way, just like a rubber band, right? And that's all it is, understanding these concepts. And that's hard to do because it requires muscle, right? A bit less of the momentum to it. But once it builds up and the muscle starts to work the way it needs to, it becomes easier. It's just hard to make it easy.
Yeah.
You know? It's very, very easy to make something difficult and get it wrong. Very, very easy, but it's very, very difficult to do something right, whatever it is.
And so you going in and thinking, okay, how am I going to make this session better? Like, did you always think like that, or was this something that you've again, learned the hard way?
Every day. Every day. Even
So
in bed.
from when you were a kid?
From when I was a kid, I would be more concerned about sort of myself. You know, when
Okay.
you're a kid,
Uh-huh.
I didn't think I would be in this position when when I was a kid, right?
Uh-huh.
To me, in my head, when I was a kid, I was going to be a professional athlete.
Okay.
That was my head, right? Everything I got into sports-wise, I wanted to be the best I could be, right? Not just the best in Malta, the best I could be, right? And I sort of take that line down the coaching route as well. Right?
Okay.
I want to be the best coach I can be
Every day.
every day. And every day I need to get better. Every day I need to learn something new.
It's a lot of pressure, though, to put on yourself, no? Or are you
Yeah.
used to that pressure?
Yeah, I mean, it comes with the job, you know what I mean? My job is to make people move well, right? So indirectly, even when I'm showing you something, if I'm giving you a demo and I'm explaining the way I move is the way I want you to move. So I force myself to move as much as I can with perfection, right? Because that's how I want you to do it, right? Monkey see, monkey do. Very, very simple logic. But if I show you something badly, I can't expect you to do it properly because I haven't given you that guidance, right? So this is how it is in a perfect world, but we're going to build to it. But we're going to build to it in the right way, right? These are your steps. You can go around them and get from A to B, but that in between how you get from A to B is more important than getting from A to B.
Yeah. In fact, I heard you tell someone that this morning when we were doing the
Toaster bar.
Toaster bar. You see, I don't even know the name.
Or the knee tucks or the leg raises.
You were saying, like, let's just cut out this part where you're not doing it well and just get to the and so true. So coming back to what you were saying about putting food on the table. So for you, it's like you're doing something you love and you don't even feel like you're working. I mean, there is an element where probably maybe when you're at home working on emails or whatever, you feel like it's work. But for the most part, you don't feel like it's work.
No.
So in my head, that sounds really great. And I feel like it's a narrative that I've heard and I would love to have for myself. And like in an ideal world, like, yes, you do something you love and you never feel like you work a day in your life. But it's not like that for everyone. And so where I'm getting with this is it kind of luck that you were kind of very good in sports genetically? I think that also plays a part. Like, you're good in sports, but you were always put into sports. And so where I'm getting with this is that kind of maybe it's easy for you to sit in this position and say, okay, I never feel like I need to work because I love what I'm doing, but not everybody is that lucky. So is it luck, or can you find that even if you're not in basically your position? So using me, let's say, as an example, or whoever.
As much as it is luck, it's also a lot of hard work and dedication.
Which people don't see,
Which
right?
people don't see. People don't see the first 10 years. Right? People walk into the gym now and they see what they see.
Yes.
You know? They didn't see 5 years of 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. at night. And this is 6 a.m. till 9 p.m., not 6 till 9, a break, and then you finish 8 till 9. This is 6 till 9. So you're looking at 15-hour days for the best part of 5-6 years of my life, along with trying to be a 26-year-old in Malta. You know what I mean?
What do you mean in Malta?
But it's not easy to balance, right? And I made a bunch of mistakes, you know?
We want all of them listed. Thank you.
Right, a bunch of mistakes. But I always had this goal in mind that I'm going to make this work.
Like, you didn't give yourself another option, which is maybe why
No,
it
I
did
doubted
work.
myself.
Okay.
Like when there was a quiet month, when I had to cancel sessions because I didn't have enough people for that session, you know, you doubt yourself. But at the end of the day, like we said earlier, you know, the trend was always going towards a positive. So it was always building on something. You know, it started small and just progressively got bigger and bigger. And we're here today, 13 years later. with probably in terms of CrossFit and that line, I would think now it's the biggest gym on the island,
Okay.
space-wise.
Yes. But, so is that luck?
No. It's a
not.
lot of hard work. It's a lot of mistakes. It's a lot of learning on the job, learning
Okay.
as you go along, because I'm not business-minded. You know, to me, this is a passion. This is a hobby. The fact that I make money from it is secondary.
Okay.
You know, I want to be able to wake up in the morning every day, walk into the gym, grab a coffee, have a laugh, have a joke, enjoy the company of my friends, and
Everything else is
and
secondary.
that's it. You know,
Yeah.
and then the money is secondary. That's extra to me. That's a bonus. You know, I would till this day, I would still do this job if it was just enough to pay my bills.
Really, like you actually mean that?
100%. To me, money isn't important in life. There are much more important things in life. Money will come. If you go out and you put yourself in these uncomfortable situations where you're forced to grow and develop, something good will come out of it. You just have to be patient.
I really don't want to believe that, and I think I do, but I also like want to challenge you a bit, because like maybe people listening to this will be like, okay, you can say that now that you're in a position where maybe you don't need to think about your I mean, you still think about your business, of course, but you know, now it's at a rate where it's running really well and you're making money from it and you pay people and you live off it and this is your life and whatever. So maybe this is you talking from that standpoint, but someone who's not there, like what would you tell someone who's at maybe the beginning of that, who's, you know, money is a real problem and getting people for your business is a real problem and whatever, like.
I mean, in the beginning, sort of before I went into CrossFit full-time, I was working full-time in a gym as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a full-time job in a gym plus the CrossFit on the side.
Okay.
So I did have, like, and this is sort of thanks to my parents because they persuaded me to do it. They said, okay, take a full-time so that you have something to fall back on. And then the CrossFit is extra.
Yep.
Right? But after a year and a half, I made a decision to go full-time into CrossFit.
Back yourself up. Let's go for it.
And looking at it now, I mean, you just started the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. How many episodes have you done? This was number 4, right?
Number 4, yeah.
So you've only done 3.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think you're going to be on episode 100?
Probably roll in a gold car. No, I'm joking.
That's the dream, right? That's the dream.
I hope that I make it to episode 100, that I'm still very passionate about it, and that it's taking up a really good portion of my day. That would be like best case scenario.
That's the way I look at it. You
Yeah.
know, you're still in the beginning,
Yeah.
and you know there's a lot of work ahead of you, but you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So that hard work won't seem as tedious. All right? It's just another day. I'm just sitting down, having a chat, having a conversation, getting to know people, getting to learn about their lives. You know? I mean, podcast-wise, Joe Rogan's the best person to feed off. Because look where he started, look where he is now. But he's done how many episodes?
Yeah. But like everything is so saturated now. Like even if I had to, let's say, forget about the podcast. Let's say I had to open a gym. Like there are so many gyms, not only in Malta, just everywhere. Like CrossFit is everywhere. Like, so starting now, do you think it's harder? Like if you had to
No,
start your
it's
gym
probably
now.
easier.
But even though there's so much competition.
Probably easier. There's still 600,000 people on the island to choose from. If you get, 0.0001% of the population, how many people is that?
Because I feel like the narrative is very much like, but there are so many, like, what's the point? Like, even when I was starting the podcast, I'm like, there are so many podcasts. Who's going to want to listen to, like, little old me? And here you are, but...
Here we are.
But
no, I think it's probably easier now.
Start a gym today.
Because people know what CrossFit is. 13 years ago,
So they're educated
the most
now.
common question I got was, what is CrossFit? You know, what is CrossFit? Oh, my God, this question again. You know, Google CrossFit. And you wouldn't get much. You know, you'd get a few videos of the old CrossFit games. you'd get videos which almost put you off a bit because they were kind of like a bit aggressive, a bit as fast as you can, as heavy as you can, and this stuff. And thankfully enough, over the past couple of years, kind of CrossFit took a bit of a step back, and it became more of, this is the educational side of CrossFit.
Okay.
Which is what I went down. You know, I'm here to educate you on movement, educate you on fitness, right? So that's like going back to what my mission is, whatever you want to call it. Like, I want to educate people on movement so that they can walk into the gym, they can see something on the board, and they can understand it, right? It's not walking in, looking at words on a board and just staring blank, right? You walk in, you look at this, okay, a month ago, I was able to do this, this, and this. Let's see if today I can do this, 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 and this. So you just add the one element, right? That extra layer of education.
Okay. And when it comes to age, because you're saying that you had someone 77 in the gym. Is age just a number when it comes to fitness? And to add to that is, how do you see CrossFit or just like weights for people that are older? Like, is it essential or is it like...
110% essential. Like, muscle, if your body doesn't have enough muscle to function, you can't move, right? So your skeleton essentially is there to provide a structure. This is your shape, right? You have a shape, I have a shape. We all have a similar skeletal shape, right? The skeleton then provides attachment sites and all these different things for the muscle, right? So if we take the bicep, for example, right? It's attached just below the elbow and above the shoulder. So it serves two functions, three functions, but let's talk about the main one. The main one's closing here, right? If you lose all of this muscle, what's going to start to work, or at least what's going to start to have to work a bit more, is the joint, right? So we start to get these deteriorations in the cartilage, which is that film between the two bones, which makes everything glide and work smooth. So if that starts to go, we start to build up arthritis, right? How many people do you know in their 20s and 30s now who have arthritis?
Not many.
Really?
I don't know many people.
You don't know many?
No.
They're all over.
Okay.
There's loads because they are physically inactive.
Okay.
So the muscle isn't there to produce the force, to produce movement. So everything is done through the joints. Right? But I'm not talking about you have to build huge muscle, but that muscle has to be worked in a way where it's stressed enough to break down and rebuild itself, because it will rebuild stronger.
Okay. So then is it safe to say that like many elderly people that are probably in a home are there because of these physical ailments and not because they're not mentally there, but because they can't lift themselves up? Or
personally, I believe that a good chunk are there. Right? The other day we went to have lunch with my nana in a home, right?
Sweet.
And just looking around the room, people aren't sick. People are physically sick, as in they don't function, right? People have to help them stand up from a chair. So if I have to help you stand up from a chair, how are you going to go to the toilet by yourself? How are you going to wash yourself? How are you going to get in and out of the bath by yourself?
Yep.
You know, how are you going to go down, grab an ice cream? Whatever it is you want to do, how are you going to move around without the muscle to support your body? You know, and I personally believe that if exercise, whatever it is, CrossFit, normal gym, whatever it may be, is added to, and I'm not saying by choice, but by force, I'm willing to bet that a lot of those people will be able to leave a home. I'm willing to bet a lot of money on that.
Yeah. That's...
It's controversial. It's controversial because people are going to question it. But, you know, so far, over the past years, has anything gotten better from what we've been doing? Not really. So if we try something new and it doesn't work, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah. Now
People
you,
are a bit
now you
stronger.
know. Yeah.
Right now we know it doesn't work, so we can tick it off the box. But if you don't try it, how are you ever going to know?
Yeah.
Right? So, but we know for a fact, because the studies have unanimously destroyed this whole concept, right? Where exercise is 100% important, especially as you get older. Number one, to preserve the muscle. Number two, to preserve the bones. Because just the exercise makes your bones stronger. So
Yeah.
an old person falls down, they can get back up. They're not going to break a hip. They're not going to break a leg. They're not going to...
Yeah. It shouldn't even be an option.
Shouldn't be an option, right? I
Just
mean, the
you
other
should
day,
be-
I'll give you a perfect example. The other day, I say the other day, maybe 2 months ago, this lady I have, 77, right, walks to the gym. Every now and then she walks to the gym, and she lives near Cosa Casa.
Okay. And your
So-
gym is in Micallef.
In Rehab. So it's like a 30-minute walk, right? 77 in this heat, all right? She was crossing the road, and for whatever reason, there was something on the road she didn't see, and she tripped and fell,
Oh, God. Okay.
right? She came up to the gym,
Fine.
not panicked, just like, I fell down, I have some blood, cleaned up the blood, cleaned everything up, we still trained. But if she didn't train these 5 days a week that she does,
Shouldn't be.
I think she would have potentially done a lot more damage than a graze on her shin.
Yeah. Probably even the way her brain is wired, it's probably a bit different. Like, even the fact that she was like, no, it's just a fall, I'm going to keep going, get
Yeah.
up, training. Or someone else would maybe have used it as an excuse to be like, no, I can't train today. But she knows that that's part of her physical, like, medicine.
We've been training together 5 days a week for the past 12 years.
Wow. Okay.
So I see this person at least an hour a day.
yeah, she's
I see her more than my parents.
she's probably fitter than people like 20 years younger than her.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
How much does she deadlift?
The most she's done is about 105.
Whoa.
105. When were we? Last week?
Oh my
Saturday, so 2 days ago, we did 80 for 5. Something like that.
God. It
80
really
for
is
5.
just a number.
80 for 5. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I give her anything I would do. She does. It's just modified. It's just
Yeah.
moderate load. You know, I'm not going to give her something I lift. That's silly. I'm going to give her something that challenges her.
Exactly.
Right? One of my favorite things to give her is a farmer's carry. So basically, a farmer's carry is just holding 2 objects by your side and going for a walk.
Yeah. It's like
Right.
you're holding your shopping, right?
Exactly. But that transfers into real life skills that she needs,
Exactly.
right? Because she has to go shopping. So if she's capable of carrying, what did she carry the other day? I think she had a 24 and a 24, right? So 24 kilos in each hand and just walking and walking. You know what I mean? You know, you're just giving her what she needs for her
Exactly.
life. Now, if
Yeah.
you tell me your mom's going to come in day one, I'm not going to give her a 24 kilo kettlebell, right? I might give her a 2 kilo kettlebell, a 4 kilo kettlebell.
No, she can lift more than that.
But, you know, it starts somewhere.
Yeah.
And then once you get this baseline, you can start to play around and you can start to feed. But to establish the baseline, you need 6 months, 9 months.
Yes.
You can't give it 2 weeks, 3
And
weeks.
not compare, which I think is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because you can
That's
go
it.
online and be like, look at how fit they are.
Yeah,
Never be
I mean,
like
my
that.
parents just started training, finally, after 13 years of begging them to come to the
Okay.
gym, right? And my mom is always like, but I can't do this, but I can't do that, because this person. It's like, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
I just want you to come to the gym and move, because I know how much better you are going to get. I mean, my mom's a superstar, right? She did 2 hip replacements in 1 year,
Wow.
or in a year, sort of like a year, and then a year later she did
Okay.
the other one. And, you know, straight away she was up and moving and,
Okay.
and trying to do stuff. Until today, she is
So they're consistently coming to the gym now?
now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that like? Like training?
Frustrating.
with you-
Frustrating, because they still know it all,
Okay.
right? But it's fine. It's
Uh-huh.
fine. You know, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be frustrated with my parents in the gym than frustrated with my parents in a home.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it.
100%. Because at least I know over here they're getting better. Over there, they're not. They're getting worse
Wow.
because they're being let to rot. But at least in the gym, I know, okay, I can push you a bit today. I pushed you too far, no big deal. We'll try again next time.
Yeah.
No big deal, all right? Let's adjust for today. and then we'll move on.
I really love that you said that because I push my parents quite a bit. I think especially my mom. I push her quite a bit to the point where we probably argue about it. And I actually tell her, like, I don't care if you hate me today for like pushing you, and I'll call her like, did you do this and whatever. But it's because I care, and I want her to be, and I want both my parents to be as fit as they can forever and ever. In my head, they're here forever. So I really love that you said that. And it's also probably for you a bit of a full circle moment, like having your parents in a gym that they basically were always like, you can do it, and now they're coming to the gym and you're
Finally.
training them. That's really cool.
Finally.
That's a really cool moment.
It's been something I've been begging them for the past 10 years. You know, when I first started, they were there as kind of like we're going to come and support you, you're our son.
How sweet.
And then it just dropped off. You know, and then it's like, oh, I'm too old, I'm this, I'm that. It doesn't matter.
How old are your parents?
My parents, I mean, I know I'm going to get this wrong.
It's okay. Give us a ballpark.
72. 72 this year.
Okay. And they're coming to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say we do like CrossFit, but it's kind of like a bit of a hybrid
Okay.
between like the powerlifting movements, so the three big movements, so a squat, deadlift, and a bench press for all over strength, because they're three movements that work pretty much the entire body. I'm not saying we do them all at once, but we'll try hit each lift once a week.
Okay.
So 1 day squat, 1 day bench press, 1 day deadlift, whichever it works. A lot of bodybuilding accessory work, so hitting specific muscle groups, right? And then every now and then, or at least once a week, we'll do some kind of circuit where they're out of breath. They have some lifting to do, some conditioning to do, maybe some interval work, you know, to work the heart. Because you can't forget that the heart is a muscle,
Exactly.
right? So it needs to be worked.
Fantastic. So coming back to you being a gym owner, so my impression of you, as in feel free to like push back, is that you're quite an introvert, like your happy place is your home, like you love being home with your dog and your fiance and just...
No, not with my fiance, with my dog though. I was so happy she was in Gaza for 4 days.
Oh, it's cute.
And she got back today. No. No, she's all right. She's all right.
So would you agree that you're an introvert?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. And so I am not an introvert, but I really appreciate introverts because I feel like they teach me how I want to be more of a better listener, take the time to think. They don't jump to the first thought that comes into their head. But so being an introvert that owns a gym, that is quite community-based, you know, you have to talk a lot and whatever. How do you think being an introvert has been your biggest strength in running the gym, but also maybe a weakness?
Let's start with the weakness. Probably just people don't understand me straight away. You know, it takes time to get to know me.
Would they think you're like a bit of a
They think I'm a bit weird, right? And I'm not going to deny it. I am a bit weird, right? Because you see someone who isn't sort of like bubbly and outgoing and chatty. It's like, what's wrong with this person? But, you know, I just like to
move in your own way.
Yeah, you know, I'll just sit there and have my own thoughts and think, and I'll just look around and watch what people are doing.
And you've always been like that, even as a kid?
Sort of I wouldn't say I was, like if I'm meeting you for the first time, not necessarily in this setting, because this is easy, right? But if we're out and about, you definitely won't get this much conversation from me.
Okay.
Like you'll get a few words, but I'm not chatty and outgoing. And even around people who I've known a while, even if we go out with some people from the gym, you know, I'm usually just sort of like sitting in the background, minding my own business, just listening and watching and having a good time. I'm still having a good time.
Okay, but in your own way.
Just my own way, you know?
Okay.
Like these days, I just like to sit down, slow my life down a bit, you know, after having a bit of a sort of rushed life with the gym for the past 13 years, you know? It's nice just to take a step back, be at home, just being peace and quiet, sit on my balcony, just look at the view, and just relax. You know, being around people is exhausting. Very, very tiring.
Okay.
Because you have to deal with so many different personalities. And you almost have to change for each individual, right? Trying to figure out how to get through to this person the most. But no, I mean, for me, I would prefer to stay home and be quiet and do nothing and just watch a movie or a documentary. Put a documentary on for me and I'm documentary, right? Then go out and about these days, right? But I still don't mind going out, having some fun, having a few drinks, you know, because it's important to do so as well.
Yes. So you push yourself into those situations because you know you need them.
Yeah. You have to let yourself live. You know, unless there's some reason not to, which these days I don't have anymore. Then yeah, of course I'm going to go out and have a couple of drinks. Why not?
Okay.
You know.
And how has being an introvert been one of your biggest strengths in running the gym?
Difficult to say because I can't really understand, at least in my head, I can't understand why people would want to go to a gym where potentially the owner's a bit standoff, you know, but they do. And, you know, it's to me, it's because I set out just to be the best I can be, you know, and
I think it's infectious, like, without you even realizing.
You know, I've gotten better. I've gotten a better at these social aspects. Like this morning was a good day for me. This morning was a good morning. You got a good morning. Sometimes you get a really bad morning.
What does a bad morning look like?
Don't speak to me before 6:30.
And you're the coach.
Don't speak to me, right? But I won't be bad. I just won't be in the mood to talk. You know, let's get the session in. Let's get on with the work. Let's do what we need to do. Let me have a coffee. Let 6:30 come about. And then we're okay, you know? Most of the time it comes after a bit of a sleepless night, a bit of a rough night. But they're getting a bit better. I'm getting used to them now, 13 years in, so.
Yeah. I mean, I can't relate. I love mornings. For me, mornings are like a sacred time. I was up at 4:30 this morning.
I hate morning people. Purely because they expect everyone to be a morning person when they're a morning person, right?
I have a really good friend, Josh, and I hope he's watching this. If he's not a good friend.
Josh, I hope you're a good friend, huh?
And we used to swim together. We had to be in the pool at 5:50 a.m. You know, you're a kid, it's cold, you have to go to school after. And obviously my dad would always drop me off. And then he started swimming or whatever. And I would just get in the pool and like, yes, like, good morning, whatever. And he'd look at me like with literally the face of like hate and just like looking at me with disgust, like, what are you doing? Like, shut up. Until this day, he still says, like, I still remember you coming to the pool, so excited and happy at 5:30 a.m. Like, what the hell was wrong with you? And I think my family were all like this, but I don't know. For me, I wake up and I'm like, yay, another day, which is maybe a bit strange, but that's how I wake up.
I mean, I can't say I've ever woken up like that.
Okay.
But I like to sleep as well, though. I'm a bit of a sleeper.
No, I struggle then to fall asleep, and like I go to sleep thinking, oh, I can't wait for my coffee tomorrow morning.
No. Sleeping. I sleep better in the afternoon than at night.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't know why. It's just nights are difficult for me to fall asleep after the whole day. It's just
you're a night owl.
My brain keeps running.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what Gabby tells me.
Okay.
Like I do more in the evening than during the day.
No, I'm the opposite. In fact, sometimes I like toy around with should I wake up and work or wake up and train? Because for me, that morning that's when everything is the best for me. I always end up just going to train instead. But in an ideal world, I would have a really long morning. Like by 12 o'clock, I'm like, oh. But before that, I'm the best version of myself. Like
after
5
12 o'clock,
I'm
leave
like,
me alone.
Exactly. Okay, so coming back to like building a community within the gym. I think one of the reasons why, obviously, I invited you on this podcast was because CrossFit 356 has such a big community. I mean, your social medias are really good, and I know that's all up to
Two fabulous people.
and I really like, I'm in marketing, so for me, I really appreciate these things. But it's not just like a marketing stunt. Like, it really is like that. Like I was saying before we started rolling, that everyone that I've come in contact with over these past 2 weeks has been so nice to me, and they don't know me. They don't really need to be nice to me. They just are nice people, as a matter of fact. But I definitely think it's like a top-down thing, that I feel like if you're treated with respect, if you are like that with all your stuff and whatever, then it naturally is kind of contagious. But how do you even begin to build a community like that and hope that you continue to surround yourself with those type of people?
It's taken a few different forms over the past few years. You know, it started one way, and you know, it slowly kind of shifts, and then you figure out something. But really, for me, it's trying to make sure that everyone in that gym is equal.
How do you
Everyone
do
is
that?
equal, whether you've been there for one day, whether you've been there for 5 years. I want to treat everyone the same way,
Okay.
because I don't feel that people should have certain preferences. They do. I'm not saying they don't. But when I try to deal with people in front of everyone, everyone's going to get the same treatment. Everyone's going to get the same teaching points. Everyone's going to get the same criticism. You know, there's no one who's immune to being criticized. There's no one who has the right to do something, you know, and that's something I believe for people, but it's also something that I believe in myself, and I'm the one who sets the example. I want to be the example for the coaches, and then our further example for the members, right? So like you said, it comes from the top down. I just try to run the gym the way I feel I would want to be treated. I mean, I've made mistakes. I've burnt bridges. I've, offended people. But I think now I've got the hang of it, to somehow balance it out.
Okay.
But to me, that's what it is. Just making sure that everyone is equal. No one is above anyone.
Yeah.
So if I see, a member taking up too much space for no reason, right? And there's people who are locked in a corner doing something, that member, even though they've been there 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, they're going to move and create space for the new person because they are not more important than that person. You are both here for the same reason.
Okay.
So you need to treat each other with respect, just like I treat both of you with respect.
Yeah.
And like that, I think it makes the gym function a lot more fluid. People understand that, hey, even though there is all of this space to work with, we still need to be respectful to other people. Never forget the first day you stepped in the gym.
Yeah.
How intimidating it was.
It's like first day of school. That's how it felt last week.
Exactly. So you walk in, a year later, you're fine. You have your friends, you have your circle, you have your little crew. You're accustomed to CrossFit. You can come in and do pretty much any workout you want. But then there are those people who have been there a week, a month, and they're still unsure, But it doesn't give you any more rights to let them sit around and wait whilst you do your thing.
Yeah.
It's, even if you were the best CrossFit athlete in the world, you won the CrossFit Games, it still doesn't give you the right to treat someone less. In fact, you should be more of an example.
Yeah.
Because you are head and shoulders above everyone. So you need to be an example. And it's something that the older members need to understand.
Yeah.
That they are the example. Right? A new member walks in, I can tell them something. Right? I can guide them. But the moment they see someone else doing it, they're going to forget what I said. What does he know?
Yeah.
You know, you see 2, 3, 4 other people doing it. So I guess that's the way to do it, right? And I mean, behavior is learned. You don't automatically come out with asshole behavior, so to say. It's learned from somewhere, right? It's passed on. So if I can promote this behavior of inclusivity, of, hey, you know, be respectful for space, you know, try this, try that, and it gets passed along, it's going to make everyone's life so much easier.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to enjoy it a lot more.
I've definitely realized that. And another thing I realized was that, like, your retention rate is really high. Like, everyone I spoke to, they've been there 2 years, a year, 3 years.
Very proud of that.
Like
very proud.
It's pretty impressive.
Because gyms generally have a very, very quick turnover rate.
Like, I was really genuinely impressed. Like, it's like you don't even hear that about people that are employed, let alone, like, at the gym, that they go to sweat and kill themselves for the better. But is that something, is that like a byproduct of all of this, or was that? Yeah.
I think it's just a byproduct of providing the best possible service I can. You know, again, forgetting money, forgetting all the luxuries. It's me developing myself into being the best coach I can to be able to provide the best service possible. And, you know, I'm very, very proud to say that the retention rate is really, really good.
No, it's fantastic.
I mean, we have those members that come for a month and go.
Yeah.
Right? But overall,
Yeah, the average.
I mean, so if we've been now, what, a month with the memberships closed? Where it's been 1 in, 1 out? A month, you know? So, and we checked the waiting list the other day. It's like 100 people.
Whoa.
There's like 100 people on the waiting list.
That's why I replied so quickly to your email. And you were like, it was like 10 at night. And I'm like, hey, I'm in.
So, no, it's something, and I believe that it's not just, it doesn't just come from me. It comes from the other coaches as well, and it comes from the members.
Yeah. And speaking of coaches, they're all fantastic. But when you are looking for coaches, what would you say are the skills or the attributes that you wouldn't want? Because maybe the woulds are easier, but I'm curious to know about that.
Wouldn't?
Like, you're like,
What
no way.
wouldn't I want? I wouldn't want someone who has an attitude with which they're unwilling to change and try new things. Right? If you're coming in
rigid, and
if you're coming in telling me this is the way you've done things for the past year, this is how I do things, I can't use you.
it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. You need to be open-minded, because this is an industry that is forever evolving,
Yes.
day to day.
Probably
right?
most industries, so.
So if you're not ready to evolve and try something new, and you feel that your way is the best way, go open your own gym. See how it goes for you. If it works out, well done. You know, if it doesn't work out, I hope you remember this conversation we had, so that at least you can maybe change the mindset and work down the road. Again, I had to do, you know, I try adapt to myself all the time. You know, I try develop all the time to be able to be the best I can be. And I'm always, every day I'm learning something new. Every day. So if I'm still learning new things after 13 years,
Then you can too.
then there's no excuse. You have no excuse.
Okay, so someone that's rigid, not open-minded. What else?
That's about it. Because
Okay.
sort of like character, people have their own characters.
Yes.
You know, I'm an introvert. Have you been with Ryan yet?
Yes.
He's an introvert. Like sometimes Ryan walks into the gym and he doesn't even say hello to me. Right? And
I enjoyed this session.
it's Ryan. You know, he's just that guy who's quiet. He's a lot better now, but he used to be so quiet. Right? Like, hi. You know, but that's fine, because you can quickly become a people person, or you can quickly put on this mask, right? Which is what you have to do when you're around people. You just wear a mask and say, this is my mask for the day. But no, if you have an attitude which is, this is my way, I'm going to do it my way, then that's probably the biggest turn off for me.
Okay.
It's like, okay,
Yeah. Not gonna work.
not going to work for me.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll happily pick up stuff from you and use them, which I have done with pretty much all my coaches. I've stolen stuff from all of them because I like the way they do things, you know?
But that's the point, right?
But that's the
Learning
point.
from each other.
That's the point, you know? So if I'm learning from you, don't tell me you can't learn from me.
Yeah. And speaking of coaches and running a business, etc. So you, someone who works at the gym, is your girlfriend, Gabby, and fiance, and you basically are running the business together. You also live together and whatever. What's that like? Like having everything.
What's it like? First of all, love you, Gabby. Because if you know how it goes, right? If you don't say something, hi, Gab. It can be difficult. It can be difficult. I think more for her than it is for me, because she's giving up her things to help me.
So it says
So
a
now
lot
it's
about her.
it's kind of a help us situation,
Yes.
but she's helping me because the gym isn't hers.
Yes.
You know, in inverted commas, so to say. You have to find a balance. Like, you have to understand that there are times when the gym is out of the equation,
Yep.
right? We're not going to talk about the gym. You know, if we go out for dinner.
And
we're
so
not-
you would actually say it like no gym talk.
No gym talk. Like, this is it, you know? But I think probably she's been the best addition to the gym and where it stands now.
Okay.
Because of her brain in terms of marketing, in terms of how to go around things, the business side, right?
Yeah.
So she studied BCom. And so she has that background, right? My background is in sports therapy. So my degree is in sports therapy. So I'm
Coming at it a
purely
different angle.
from a different angle, right? I'm looking at it from the sport angle, the movement angle, the rehabilitation side, even though it's not really my field anymore. I still have that sort of background in me. But she's coming on it from a different angle, which makes it a lot easier, you know? And honestly, she's been the best addition to
Yeah.
the gym.
That's so nice to hear, like that you not only meet good people, but meet someone that effectively you're spending the majority of your time with.
No, yeah,
Besides
I
your
mean-
dog. But
They say don't shit where you eat, but
worked so far.
so far, you know, I say so far it worked. I've made mistakes in that line as well. You know, I did mess those things up. But with her, I got it right.
Yeah,
100%. It was the right choice.
yeah. That's so nice
You
to
know?
hear.
She started as a member for basketball because she used to play basketball. And she started using CrossFit as a way to train and just get a bit stronger. You know, as she grew up, the league gets a bit harder because now you're dealing with grown women, right? So she was kind of like a bit skinny. So she had to put on a bit of size. But not so much size, but strength.
Not bulk.
And it just went from there, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So she brought in a side that obviously you not couldn't, but just weren't exposed to. You were focusing on
Yeah.
other things
Yeah.
and whatever. So how does it work between you? Like, do you? Okay, so there are the things you say. Okay, today we're not talking about the gym. We're out. We're just two normal people. What else are like your kind of what you've learned so far that works and doesn't work?
Don't coach your girlfriend.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people who will agree with me on this one. That
Can you give us an
it's
example
so
of when it
difficult.
went, can you give us an example of when it went wrong, please?
Oh my God, so many every day. Every day. I mean, because she's the person closest to me and I feel I'm the person closest to her. You know how it goes. You know, if you're having a bit of a bad day or if you don't like something, they're the person you're going to snap at.
Yes.
They're the ones who get it the most,
In
right?
the line of fire.
And
I'm just seeing your face like running through
I'm
probably
just
scenarios.
running through sort of like different moments when I would ask for something and she'd give me the opposite, or I'd ask for something and
It's funny because you wouldn't treat anyone else like that.
not
then with the-
not this bad,
Uh-huh.
not like this.
Uh-huh.
There are some people who I've snapped at, but it
Took a while to get
a
there.
while to build up to
Yes,
it.
yes,
Like with Gabby, sometimes it's instant.
Yes, but then you
And
get over it quickly, so it's
I'm
fine.
I'm trying to control it. I'm trying to learn how to be a bit more diplomatic. But yeah, it's difficult. Don't coach your girlfriend, or your partner, or your parents.
Okay. And so then you decide you're going to propose.
I did.
What
I
was the as in, was it just like time, or you just
I
came full circle?
So I'm someone who doesn't really believe in marriage.
Okay.
Right? I don't think marriage is necessarily good for a relationship.
I'm loving this contradiction. Uh-huh.
I know, right? I know. But no, and I always told her, look, Gab, I don't want to get married. And she knew 100%. She knew what she was getting into.
But it's good you said that. Not expectation, but just being honest. man.
Because I feel so many relationships break down because in the first year or two, it's that lust phase, right? So everything is peachy, everything is nice. But then you can only be a character for so long in a relationship, even more when you live together.
And work together.
And work together. I mean, luckily enough, we don't work together every day because she still has some stuff on the side. But your bad habits will come out,
Yes.
and your true character will come out. And once that comes out, if you're going to rush into something like marriage, which is supposed to be forever, right? It's only something you do, or you're supposed to do once in your life. You know, I mean, today it's become a weekend celebration every week for some people. You know, it's like married, divorced, married, divorced. You know, but it's not something I ever thought I would do.
Okay.
But in saying that, I know it's something that she wanted. And it's something that, you know, I wouldn't say kept pestering me about it.
Had value to her.
But exactly, you know, to her, it's something that meant a lot. So I'm more than happy to put my idea aside to be able to give her something. Because she's given me so much with the gym.
Yeah. That's
So
really beautiful.
to me, it's like, if you want this, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily believe that it's there. You know, I told her even after I proposed, it's like, this one's for you. All right. But, you know, I'm more than happy and more than willing to see her happy.
Exactly.
And I mean, to put it a bit silly and a bit of a fantasy.
It's okay. Go for the full
fairy
cheese.
tale, full
Just do
cheese,
it.
but
Do it.
every girl deserves her day to be a princess.
Yeah.
Cheese, right?
Yeah.
But it's true.
No, it is
You know,
kind of true.
it's something that women and girls dream about from when they're young girls. I mean, I don't know, how old were you when you first thought about being a princess and getting married?
I never did. But maybe I'm a bit different.
100% different.
I more think about like, when am I going to do an Ironman? When am I going to like race or like, I think those are more the things I think about. As in, I want to get married, and it's definitely something I strive for because I've got so many good examples of relationships in my life. And for me, that's like, it's not what you do, it's who you get to be with after. For me, that's like the epitome of life, whether you're in a sport, even a sport, like if you cross that finish line and you have no one to run to, whether it's your parents, your friends, a boyfriend, it's for me that's what it's always all about. Like, the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, because I was working remotely, living alone and all that, and I was like, okay, I need to speak to more people, be around more people. Okay, you don't need to do a podcast to do it, but I was like, I want to do it. It's another good byproduct of it. So I understand that like you're saying, for you, she's one of the most important people, if not in your life, most important. And this is important to her. So, and I think it's really amazing how aware you are, because it's not always about you. And it's not always about what you want. Like, you're in a relationship, it's give and take. So if you're with someone and for them getting married is a real must-have, and you still want to be with the person, and you're going to be together either way, then, like, what's the big deal? Like, obviously you have to think about it, but like you said, it's something that was important to her. You can give it to her. Why the hell not?
Exactly. I mean, I look at things a bit differently. All right, I don't believe in giving you a present on Christmas, on your birthday. I don't believe in that stuff, right? That's silly.
Not inviting you to my birthday.
Save some money then. But if I'm driving past a shop and I see something I know she'll like, I'll buy it. Right? Just to give you an example.
Yeah, my parents are like that.
Right. So now M Vintage just came out with their mystery box thing, whatever it is.
Okay.
I don't know. Every year they do this mystery box with their new collection
Okay.
and all that stuff, right? And I got a phone call from M Vintage. They're like, "Oh, you bought it last year. Do you want to buy it this year?" You know, and straight away, without hesitation, I'm like, "Sure," because I know she loves M Vintage.
Exactly.
Right. And when she got home, that's when she found it,
How
just
sweet.
in a bag near the bed. For no occasion.
Yeah. But that's
know?
when it's best, when it's not expected.
Because I know you like this stuff, you know, and I can afford it because of what you did for the gym.
Exactly.
So I feel it's only fair that I spend some money on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you deserve it.
Yeah. And it's not even about the money or whatever. It's just because you don't need to buy something that's worth X amount.
No.
You can even just
No.
go and...
I know you like it.
Exactly.
I can afford it, so why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I can afford it because of you. So really,
Yeah.
it's your money I'm spending on you. You know, but that's the way I see it. You know, if I see something that someone likes, I'll stop and get it.
Yeah.
I don't need a birthday, and
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I got something on her birthday, in fact. I don't think I've ever bought something on her birthday.
I mean,
I don't think so.
I think you're someone that has your quirks, but she's obviously aware of that, and people around you are too. And I like how you're unapologetically yourself. I think that's fantastic.
That's who I am.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give anyone this impression of who I'm not, you know, and especially these days with social media.
Yeah.
Too many people are trying to be what they're not. And then you meet them in real life and they're just a complete opposite of who they are. You know, with me, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
You know, I'm quiet. You know, my views are a bit different. Not necessarily wrong, they're just different, right? You have your views, I have my views. That's who I am.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't like it,
Yeah. But at least you know who you are.
That's
which
your
is,
problem.
I
You know,
think-
I accept your views. I accept your opinions. We can still have a chat. We just disagree on some things. No big deal. It doesn't mean, you know, we
Yeah.
can't sit down and have a drink together.
Yeah.
You know, but to be someone I'm not, just, it doesn't do it
Doesn't
for me.
sit well.
Doesn't do it for me.
No.
Doesn't do it.
And I think that leads me to something I wanted to mention. So before this talk, I asked a few people around the gym, probably to know, like, what can I ask Kyle? Or
I'm not
whatever.
even going to ask you who you asked.
Zach.
Of all the people to ask. Jeez, him.
And he said how you're really not someone that likes to spend a lot of time on his phone. Like, you're really focused, and like even on like a WhatsApp or a group chat, you're like one of the last people to reply, or else you just randomly chime in and then like disappear. So excuse my bluntness, but is this because you're from an older generation, and
probably.
so you're not as addicted to your phone, or is that just focus something that you've learned from sports, or like your life?
If I want something, I'm going to get it.
Okay.
Right? So whatever, since I was young, like if I wanted something, I'm going to be hard-headed and I'm going to get it, irrelevant of what danger it puts me in, what trouble it puts me in. And from a young age, I've made so many bad decisions. But I don't want to be a slave to my phone.
Okay. So how do
Because
you-
in the beginning of the business of the gym, I was on my phone constantly because messages, emails, can I come, can I come, right? And they never stopped. 11 o'clock at night, people are calling you. Midnight, people are calling you. It's like, leave me, it's midnight. You have no respect for other people's time. So it just got to a point where I started ignoring these things. And the only time I would reply to gym messages are when I was actually in the gym. So that's my work time.
Okay.
If I leave the gym at 2 in the afternoon, that's it. You are not getting another message from me because I'm outside of work, my time. And it's difficult to do, like difficult to separate the two. But I can't get over how people can sit at a table
It's one of my biggest pet peeves.
and look down at the table the whole day and not even have a chat or a conversation. And I'm not one who talks a lot. But if everyone is having a laugh and a joke, you can bet I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time we're at a table, everyone's on their phone, and I'm just sort of like looking around.
Yeah. For me, that's like I have conversations with my family where they're like, stop it more. Because if we were somewhere and like my parents, whatever, get out their phone, I'm like, put it away. Like even if we're somewhere and you put your phone on the table, for me, that's already like, okay, that's more of a priority than.
Like in a world where everything is now based on technology, you need to take a step back to have a social connection.
Yes.
Look at the damage COVID did, especially with the young ones. Right? That's how you want to keep living your life? You go out and about and sort of like you're on the phone, and then you're complaining that
you're lonely.
You're lonely and this and that. Well, what do you expect? When you're out, you're on your phone. When you're at home, you're on your phone. When you're in bed, you're on your phone. Everything is done through a screen. We've lost the ability to interact, which is what I love about the gym. Because for that 1 hour, that is your 1 hour. Put your phone away. Do something for you. Remember that you are the most important person in your life. Irrelevant of what's going on, you are the most important person in your life. And then people come after. But it doesn't mean that you can't be in line with other people.
Yeah.
Right? You just have to understand that there's a time and a place for your phone. There's a time and a place to interact with someone or with people, with a group. And it feels like we've lost that aspect of interaction socially.
So you have to consciously make that decision, like phone down. Or now
Like
I'm
for me,
with
it's
my
easy.
girlfriend, I put it on my phone.
For me, it's very, very easy. Like, did you see me pick up my phone this morning?
No.
Very, very. I don't care what's going on my phone. I care about those 20 people at 6 a.m.
Because that's where your work is.
That's what I'm doing. For
What
me,
if your work is from your phone? Or like you're a business owner and you have to be you have to be connected all the time. Like that's draining, You have
no
to
idea.
set those boundaries.
No idea. I think you still have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a friend of mine who's constantly at work. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame because he's missing out on so much family life.
Yeah.
As much as he's getting, he's missing. And anytime I meet him, I tell him, you need to take a step back. Nothing's going to happen to your business. And we're talking about a big business here, right? Nothing's going to happen to your business by taking 1 day off a week for your family.
Yeah.
And that's the way I want it to be going forward, And I'm happy where the gym is now because I've set myself up so that when the kids come about, the kids will grow up with 2 parents in a healthy environment.
Yeah. And that are giving them the best thing.
They're not going to grow up with no.
Exactly.
They're not going to grow up with a carer.
Yeah.
Right? My kids, after school, are in the gym with mom and dad.
Yeah.
They are taking the example of mom and dad.
Yeah.
Which is what I took from my parents. My parents were always active. And that is on me. That left sort of like a mark in my brain.
Yeah.
Right? That I always saw my parents active. So for me, it's just be active. Whatever it is, just be active. Learn something new. Enjoy something.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah. And you're giving them the best thing, which is their time. I think that's all kids want is your time. Like that's, I think, what I learned from my parents.
I mean, it's not something I'm heavily educated on. You know, bringing up kids, considering I don't have any of my own. But there are sort of studies which will tell you the most important years of a kid's life when their brain is developing the most. And I think it was something like between 3 and 7,
Yeah,
3 and
makes
8,
sense.
whatever it was, when that sort of like imprint of habits and attitude and behavior is the most important time in their life.
Yeah.
Something like that, between 3 and 7. I mean, someone can probably correct me on that if anyone's watching, but that's when it has to be set.
Yeah.
So if I can set that in early, it'll make it easier in the long run, right? Same way I look at training people. Set them up properly in the beginning so that in the long run it becomes easier.
Yeah, and you get those that dividends back.
Yes. It takes time
Yes.
and patience.
Yes. Okay, I feel like we've had such a good conversation. I feel like we can continue talking forever.
Next time.
Next time. 6 a.m. tomorrow. It depends on your mood.
No. It's my morning off tomorrow, so you're fine.
Okay. So I just have a quick few questions, like last questions I like to ask different for every guest. So the first one might catch you a bit off guard is why Domino's?
Why Domino's? I don't know. I have no idea. I only get... We're talking about Domino's pizza, right? I'm
Yes.
assuming. So I have no idea. I just like the way it tastes. I mean, I know it's not great, but you dip the crust in that garlic and herb sauce and it just... You know what I mean? But there's only one pizza I get from there. It's like the one which has barbecue sauce and a load of meat on it. It's filling. So I kind of use it as like a two meal thing.
Okay.
But I have no idea, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of that junk food I like.
Yeah. It's like you're this fitness dude. Like, doesn't that go against, like, or you're just living that 70-30?
Yeah, so like for me, it's always about doing the majority, right? So if I
Yes.
live 5 days out of 7 really well, why not have one day which is,
Domino's time.
you know, exactly. It's not going to do any damage.
Yeah.
You know, just like one good day isn't going to do anything beneficial, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're at home most of the time, and you eat properly, why can't you afford yourself that one time where you go out and you have some fun? What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Plus, mentally, it's very, very relieving to have that one day of, I can relax. You know, I don't have to worry about how much of this I'm having, this and this and this, and it's just go out and have some fun.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. And CrossFit 356, are there any plans for maybe more gyms or more events or anything in the pipeline?
Let me see how I'm going to say something without revealing my actual plans.
Okay.
We're looking for a permanent place.
Okay.
I'm looking for somewhere which I will own, not
Nice.
rent anymore.
Nice.
So I'm headed towards that stage of owning a warehouse
Okay. Save my spot, please.
instead of giving money to someone else to rent their warehouse.
Okay.
So hopefully in the next 2 years,
Amazing.
we'll accomplish that. And then we'll see what the next step is.
Okay. Last 2 questions. What other business would you be interested if not CrossFit or not gym related? Like if you had to tomorrow wake up and for a week, this was your business, what would you choose?
I would love to be in a heavy metal band.
Yes?
That'd be
I didn't.
awesome. Well, you tour the world, you get to see
You
everything.
have the look for it.
Thank you. Just started
I don't know
learning
if
guitar
that's a
as well.
compliment, but anyway. Okay.
Um,
You just started the guitar as well.
Started beginning of this month.
Amazing.
Wow.
It's fun to be a beginner though at something.
Oh, I love it.
Like I'm feeling like that.
I love it.
Coming to the gym. Like I feel like a kid in a playground.
I love it, man. Being a beginner
It's great.
actually helped me become a better coach in terms of mindset. I mean, and being a beginner with me in sport is easy for me, right? Because I pick up so quickly. But having to learn,
No joking.
you never know. You never know. You never know. I mean, so far you're doing well in the 2 weeks you've been.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, I picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that taught me a lot on the importance, and I mean the absolute importance of technique over anything else, right? Because even someone like me, I was easily controlled by smaller people, and that's a weird feeling,
Yeah.
you know? Learning the guitar is something completely out of my comfort zone. It's not sports, it's not...
Even your brain, it's like, what the hell is this?
It's not really a physical activity, even though it is a physical activity, but it just involves this. You know? But hopefully, that same sort of like connection that I make in terms of sports will go into the music side. So I'm trying something different. We'll see how it goes in the next few months.
That's really cool. Last question. If you had one piece of advice that you would give to anyone, and it's something that you wish someone would have told you, that would have saved you a lot of mental bandwidth, and you can take your time to think about this, but what would that piece of advice be?
Be open-minded to suggestions, because there are people out there who know a lot more than you.
Okay.
Right? As a young person, you think you know it all. As I grow older, I'm starting to realize how little I know.
Yeah.
Like, and at 24 years old, when I started the gym, I should have taken a lot more advice, or I should have followed a lot more advice because it was given to me. I was just hard-headed. So definitely, whatever it is, business-wise, training-wise, relationship-wise, you know, if there's someone who's had the experiences, who's been through things, listen closely to what they're saying, even though you might not agree with it.
You're still going to learn something,
Because
even if you disagree.
you can still pick something up.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it may be.
That's really good. Awesome. This was really fun. I really laughed. I learned a lot.
We're going to have to do another one. I feel like there's a lot more you want to talk
I think we need to get
about.
Gabby next time.
What, do both of us?
I think so.
Mela, you want an argument on camera, yeah? You know how bad that would be?
I think it'd be really entertaining.
Gabby, though, not me.
For me. No, that was really, really cool. Thank you very, very much. And anyone who wants to know more about CrossFit 356 can head over to their Instagram, sign up for their waiting list. There's quite a waiting list, but it's really worth it, trust me. And yeah, super cool. Thank you very, very much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.